We are now live.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ukiah Unified's Town Hall meeting for elementary school parents. We're so glad to be hosting this tonight and on this crazy rainy night. And we want to welcome you to our town hall. So the format of tonight, before I introduce everyone, is we have a presentation to give, and I will be giving that presentation. And many of you have already sent questions in, so we will be taking questions that have been emailed to townhallquestions@uusd.net, and you can still send questions in. We've received quite a few questions tonight, so we will do our best to get through them all. If we are unable to get through them all, we will make sure and email you a response to your questions. So again, we're super happy to have you join us. We did a session last night all in Spanish, and then tomorrow night we will be doing a town hall for parents of secondary students, our middle school and high school students. So welcome, and we hope this is really informative for you. With us tonight, joining us tonight, we have Katie Summer, our Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. We have Gabe Sherman, who is our Director of Maintenance, Operations, and Transportation. We have Frank Zeke Principal, Dara Brown. We have Nokomis Principal, Tom Rawls. We have our Communications Officer, Doug Schald. And the icon that says UUSD Live is one of our amazing technology staff people, Ian Scott. And then we also have two sign language interpreters joining us tonight, Brenda Bianchi and Gustavo Fuentes. So again, thank you so much for being here, and we will get busy with our presentation. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email them to townhallquestions@uusd.net. This is being recorded, and it's being streamed through our UUSD Live YouTube channel. And we will also be posting this later if you can't catch the whole thing right now. So I'm going to share my screen with you. So hold on for one moment while we get organized here. Okay, so again, email questions to townhallquestions@uusd.net. A big question that has been asked, and especially recently, is when will Ukiah Unified open to in-person instruction? So for grades, transitional kindergarten through grade 6, when our county COVID case rate is less than 25 for 5 consecutive days, so these are dependent on the local health conditions, we would be eligible to open for grades TK through 6. And for grades 7 through 12, it's the same as it was, which is the county has to be in the red tier for 5 days. So again, those are based on local conditions. In addition, we have to have an improved COVID safety plan, and we've been working on this plan since May. It has probably changed maybe 4 different times because of the changing guidance from California Department of Public Health, Cal OSHA, and our local public health officer. So that plan, we plan to submit it on Thursday, and it has to be reviewed by the Mendocino County Public Health Officer and the California Safe Schools for All team. And again, our plan is to get that submitted this week. So as soon as the local health conditions fit into those categories that I just described, they're up on the screen, and we have our plan reviewed, we can reopen to in-person instruction. When we reopen, we wanted to share with you what to expect when we reopen to an in-person option. So we will be reopening to a hybrid model. It will be a phased reopening, and we have shared in the past what that hybrid model will look like. But in general, the hybrid model, most students will attend school 2 days a week for on-site instruction, and the other 3 days are distance learning assignments with daily check-in and office hours for support. Distance learning will happen for all students on Wednesdays. And the reason for this hybrid model is we have a variety of mitigation measures to implement, including physical distancing in our classroom. And in order to meet those physical distancing requirements, we have to reduce the size of the number of students in the class. And so we would reopen to a hybrid model. Now, if parents do not want to choose that hybrid model, they have the option to choose distance learning only. So soon, next week, you will be invited to virtual information sessions from our school principals that will detail in-person learning programs at each school site. So you're going to hear more about the dates and the times from your child's school site. Those will be occurring next week for our elementary schools. I know sometimes it's confusing, the hybrid model is confusing, so we tried to break it down in this way for you. This is an example. If you are in group A, you would attend school from 8 to 12 on Monday and Tuesday, and that would be in school in person. You would be picked up as a student at noon, and then you would be at home doing independent work from 1:30 to 2:30 on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, again, is all distance learning for all students. And then Thursday and Friday, your students would be doing distance learning independently at home. And then in the afternoon, they would be doing distance learning online with the teacher between 1:30 and 2:30. So this is the hybrid model that we would be using. And then group B would have the opposite schedule, which is on the next slide. And we will be posting this presentation so you can look at it later as well. As I said, in order to open to in-person learning, there are a lot of really important safety measures that we need to implement in our schools. We need to be screening our students at home. So we're asking that students and staff that you complete a daily temperature check and you self-screen for COVID-19 symptoms such as cough, shortness of breath, runny nose, and fever at home before coming to school or getting on a bus. Anyone with a fever of 100.4 or more should not go to a school site. Those experiencing symptoms, including persistent cough, shortness of breath, or runny nose, should not attend school. If a temperature of 100.4 is detected, if a student develops that fever while at school, they will be isolated from other students, provided a face covering if they do not have one, and their parent or guardian will be contacted to pick them up. Sick staff and students will be advised to isolate according to the CDC guidelines. The individual may return 10 days after symptoms first appeared and no fever for at least 24 hours without using fever-reducing medications or proof of a negative COVID test. As you all know, and you've heard for the last, I think it's almost been 10 months now, hand hygiene is incredibly important. It is always important, and it's even more important now. So we'll be training staff and students on proper hand hygiene, including hand washing and the use of hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer stations are available at all school sites. Students will be instructed to wash or sanitize their hands upon arrival into the campus, using the restroom and lunch. Students and staff will be instructed on protocols for coughing, sneezing, etc., while protecting others' health and safety. Hand washing and hand sanitizing for students will be reinforced daily with time allotted to wash hands regularly. Schools will limit the sharing of supplies. Belongings will be separated in individually labeled storage containers, cubbies, or areas. Visual reminders will be provided and posted for students and staff. And again, this is very different than what we're used to in our schools, but these are really important safety measures that we have to have in place while we have students at school in person. We need to make sure that we are implementing proper physical distancing, which reduces the number of students in our classrooms. Sites have designed spaces with physical distancing in mind, which may include instruction outdoors, not today, of course, because it is freezing outside, or in larger areas. We've ordered a variety of types of new furniture, including outdoor furniture, and we will be ensuring that we are implementing physical distancing. Student workspaces will be arranged with consideration for maximum physical distancing following the public health recommendations. Teachers and other staff desks will be distanced at least 6 feet away from the student desks. And then group activities will be significantly limited, and off-site field trips are currently suspended. Visual reminders will be provided and posted around the campus. Also, in regard to facial coverings, and let me move forward here. There's our physical distancing slide. Sorry, I was not scrolling ahead on our presentation. And with face coverings are required for all students in grades TK through 12, unless there's an exemption for medical reasons. Students with exemptions and a doctor's note will not be required to wear a mask, but are strongly encouraged to utilize a face shield if possible. Students who refuse to wear face coverings and do not have an exemption will be excluded from on-campus learning. They will be required to participate in distance learning. Students will be instructed on proper face covering protocol. Students will be allowed to remove their masks to eat or for any mask breaks designated by staff. All staff will be provided face coverings and are required to wear a face covering unless prevented due to health conditions or instructional or communication needs. In those instances, staff will be provided with a clear face shield. Visual reminders regarding face covering protocols will be posted for staff and students. In terms of testing, testing for COVID-19 provides an additional tool to support safe and successful K-12 in-person instruction. Testing can allow for early identification of cases and exclusion from school to prevent transmission. The new California Department of Public Health guidance, which just came out on January 14th, encourages increased testing frequency of staff and students. The CDPH Reopening Schools Framework recommends weekly testing if the county's case rate is greater than 14, which it is right now. If a county is in the purple tier with a case rate of less than 14 or is in the red tier, the recommended testing frequency is every 2 weeks. A negative test provides information only for the moment in time when the sample is collected. Individuals can become infectious shortly after having a negative test, so it is important to maintain all other mitigation strategies, such as physical distancing, mask wearing, and hand hygiene, if a recent negative test has been documented. I'm really proud of the work that our Director of Maintenance Operations and Transportation and the maintenance team. I'm really incredibly proud of their work. They have been busy acquiring everything that we need to make sure that we are able to implement in-person instruction safely. And so we have hand washing and sanitizing stations. They're located in common areas in each school, such as lunch areas, front offices, and priority locations. All sinks have hand soap and paper towels. Each classroom is equipped with a hand sanitizer dispenser at the exterior entrance. We are providing face masks for staff. All staff are required to wear, the new guidance is a surgical mask, and so we have surgical masks for our staff, unless they're prevented due to health conditions or instructional and communication needs, which we talked about. Clear masks and face shields are options for staff. And then each school and district site has touchless forehead thermometers, so staff can screen students and themselves. And then we have quite a supply of gloves as well. So we have worked really hard to get the necessary safety equipment that will be required to safely implement in-person instruction. Additionally, drinking fountains are currently disabled. Students need to bring their own water bottles and can refill their water bottles at designated sinks on campus. Breaks, recess, and when we get to lunch, eventually they'll be staggered as feasible to allow maximum physical distancing. Bathrooms will be cleaned and stocked with soap throughout the day. Our HVAC systems, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems, have been serviced and inspected across the district to ensure proper operation and circulation of outside air. And we also have HEPA air scrubbers in each of our classrooms. Disinfecting wipes and or disinfecting sprays will be provided in every classroom. Since this pandemic, we have been providing a weekly communication. I know some of you have indicated that we've been over communicating. We want to make sure that we are providing a lot of information to our community, so we keep you updated. You can actually sign up for phone, email, text, or all three of those. And you can sign up your preferences on the Aries parent portal. If you need help, you can call your school site or our district office. We also have our safety and reopening plans on our website, which is listed here. Our COVID response, we have a specific COVID response website link. We've sent out our health and safety guidebook to all of you. And then we've also sent out links for the new California Department of Public Health guidance and California Safe Schools for All website link. And of course, we have a very active district Facebook page that we post information on. So that is our presentation, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we will be moving very quickly into the question time frame. And we have our amazing communications officer, Doug Schald, who will be asking questions of our panelists tonight.
Hello, everyone. Our first question is for you, Deb. When will the kids be in school full time?
Gosh, I think we're all dreaming about that. I'm a parent of 3 teenagers. I have 3 Ukiah high school teenagers in my household, and I think we're all dreaming about the time when our kids can get back to school in person full time. And right now, because of the local health conditions, that's not in the guidance. Right now, it's required that we have physical distancing in our schools, and so all of our decisions are really made off of the California Department of Public Health guidance and our local public health officers' health orders. And so we implement that, and currently we are unable to bring our students back full-time every day, and although we want to so much. So I don't know is the answer. I do not know when we will be able to bring our students back full-time. It depends on how things go with this virus.
Okay, thanks, Deb. Principal Brown, when will parents be allowed on our school campuses?
Well, to create the safest conditions possible on the school sites, and to make sure that we're complying with all the guidance, we're limiting all visitors to only those who are necessary for our educational programs. So for right now, and at least for the foreseeable future until guidance changes, visitors can come to the site if it's necessary for them to do that. But we do want them coming to the school offices, and we'll help them. We'll be happy to help them there. But right now, visitors will not be allowed into the classrooms.
Thank you. The next question is for Superintendent Cuban. How are negotiations going with the teachers union?
I am very happy to report that we've reached a memorandum of understanding with both our CSEA chapter, our Classified Employees chapter, and our Ukiah Teachers Association as of today. So we are grateful to our employees and to our unions and their leadership for working collaboratively with us to work together to get our students back to school in person.
Assistant Superintendent Summers, when will the kids be assessed for their learning loss?
So we've been assessing students throughout distance learning. to assess their progress and look at what specific needs that they have. And when students return to in-person learning, we will also continue to assess them. And we may have to wait a little bit for us to get all our schedules together and for students to be comfortable with their schedules. But currently, we've been assessing throughout the year.
Great. And a follow-up question. What is the percentage of learning loss that will distinguish between getting extra tutoring or help?
So some of the support programs like summer school and tutoring, we tried to give as much access as possible to students, but we do prioritize students based on needs around assessments. We have a reading assessment that we give students, our STAR Math, STAR ELA, and we look at grades as well. And we also prioritize students based on whether they're EL, foster, homeless, those high priority students.
Great. Back to Principal Brown. Are you going to require all students to be vaccinated for COVID-19 before returning to school in person?
So currently there's no requirement for children to be vaccinated. There are companies doing some clinical trials, but there's just currently not a vaccine for children 16 and under.
Okay. Assistant Superintendent Summer. If we choose 100% distance learning in a previous survey, does the school district plan to honor that choice?
Yes. Distance learning will continue to be an option for families.
And Doug, just to add on to that, next week, our elementary school sites will be reaching out to our elementary students and families to confirm which instructional program you would either like to continue choosing or if you've changed your mind. And so you will be contacted next week by the school site to confirm your choice, because as soon as we get our plan approved and our local health conditions allow us to reopen to in-person instruction, we will be moving forward with that. So we are in the process of gathering information from you right now to make sure we are confirming your choices. But before we do that, our principals want to make sure that you understand all of the components of the hybrid model. And you already know what distance learning is like because you've been experiencing that, so that when you make your choice, you are fully informed.
Okay. Principal Rawls. Will all the classroom doors and windows be open during class time? And if so, what happens when it's too cold or windy or wet or too hot?
Well, as mentioned before, safety is always a top priority for us. And so it is our understanding that best practice is to have windows open. So windows will be open unless there is some reason that we need to close them. Additionally, all classrooms are equipped with a high volume HEPA air scrubber to clean up the air. So we are ready to have the windows open and keep the air clean.
Great. And if the doors and windows are open during class time, what are the security protocols in place to keep our students and staff safe?
Well, if we can remember back to normal times, even in normal times, we had our doors open. We have protocols and procedures that if we have a lockdown, we can close things up quickly to keep everybody safe.
Okay. Assistant Superintendent Summer, what state law requires staff members and students to wear masks?
So there are both the state California Department of Public Health guidance and also our local health orders that require us to wear face masks.
Okay, and a follow-up, will a religious exemption allow staff members and students to not wear a mask?
The exemptions are for medical reasons. So as was prior in the presentation, face masks are required unless there is a medical exemption.
Okay. Director Sherman, what kind of PPE does the district have, and do we have enough?
So we currently have tens of thousands of the 3-ply surgical masks in stock for our teaching staff, instructional staff. And additionally, we have cloth face masks for them, face shields, clear face masks. We also stock the temporary or disposable masks for students if we have them show up without masks or they're lost or damaged throughout the day. And finally, we'll be providing cloth face masks to our students. On top of that, we have smocks and surgical gloves for more at-risk activities. As far as EPE, which is essential protective equipment, I think we've mentioned the HEPA filters for all the classrooms. We've also installed physical barriers. So similar, you see at the supermarkets, all of our high traffic areas or areas where we have to breach that, that social distancing. We have plexiglass shields installed. Wayfinding in all of our sites. We're pretty well stocked. And you know, one of the things that we're really going to be mindful of once we get back to in-person instruction is keeping track of what our usage is and keeping up with our burn rate. And our goal is really going to have a couple months of in stock at any given time. And you know, right now we're ready, and I don't have any concerns about being able to continually procure supplies as we need it.
Okay. Assistant Superintendent Summer, will there be testing for either staff or students involved?
Yes, so one of the key mitigation strategies that is really important is testing. So we are putting in place a testing plan that will test both students and staff. That testing is voluntary, but it's a really important piece to keeping our students safe. That way we know what's happening in our schools, and if we need to, we know that we can have that information to safely either keep our schools open or closed. So yes, we do have testing for both students and staff.
Okay, Superintendent Cuban, if we have to have less than 6 feet between our students, what mitigation measures will be in place?
Well, we are going to try our best to get to 6 feet. However, the California Department of Public Health guidance allows us to go down to 4 feet if there are additional mitigation efforts after we've exhausted everything to try to get to the 6 feet. And in that case, we would install plexiglass barriers.
Okay. Director Sherman, what will busing look like when we can go back?
So the current county guidelines allow us to have student ridership on the buses, which is approximately 1 per seat. The guidance is 3 feet between students and 6 feet from driver to students. Additionally, everyone on the bus will be masked, and we're required to have a minimum of 2 windows open at any given time. We've also installed high efficiency particulate air filters. So those are the HEPA filters on our bus fleet as well. So ridership will be less than we have in the past. The buses certainly won't be packed, but we will be able to keep them operating. On top of that, our student riderships has to be tracked daily. That's so we can really stagger our students and get them potted and also do contact tracing. So, you know, our normal general ed routes are kind of open to student ridership at any given time. We still would like to maintain that, but we are going to be requiring sign up so that we can, you know, target their correct kids, the correct buses, and then be able to get them seated in a manner that allows them to pod or to keep their appropriate distancing.
Great. Assistant Superintendent Summer, what happens if a student, teacher, or staff member gets sick? Are there protocols in place?
Yes, so from the guidance from the public health officer and from the California Department of Public Health, we have strict protocols on what to do if someone is symptomatic at school, that they're showing symptoms. And the very first thing is if we have a staff member showing symptoms, they will be sent home. They won't have to stay at work, and they'll be asked to contact their doctor and get tested. For students at school that are showing symptoms, they would go to the isolation room. So each school site will have an isolation room for this instance, where students will be assessed, their parents will be called, and they'll be sent home, and then also will be requested to contact their health providers. And then we have specific protocols for when students and staff can return. So it's very clear on what we need to do if students are either showing symptoms or staff through our health protocols.
Okay, and this one's for you too. Is there a threshold in place for the number of positive tests needed to close schools again, either temporarily or for a longer period of time?
Yes, so in addition to students being sent home, if a school has 2 or more cohorts, groups of students that have 2 or more positive cases, we would close school, or at least 5% of the total population of teachers and students are positive, then we would also close school. In addition, if 25% of our schools have closed, we would also close the whole school district. And that's because, we know that that means that we have outbreaks occurring at higher rates at schools and more transmission. So that is also part of our protocols, and that we are very clear on when we would be closing schools.
Okay, thank you. Superintendent Cuban, will families be able to change between full remote and hybrid at will? And how will that fluctuate work groups and cohorts?
This will be a challenge, and I know that as we move into the hybrid model, we're going to have many, many challenges. And I know we will rise to the challenges as we did to rise to offer a robust distance learning program this year. But we would like families to choose an option and really try hard to stay with it. We will be, in order to meet the needs of everyone, or as many as we can, we will need to potentially move students around in their classes to make sure we're able to accommodate the students who want distance learning and the students who want an in-person program. So it's really important to make the choice, and if eventually you change your mind, when there's space available, we would be able to move you into an alternative model.
Okay, thanks. I have another one for you. How will we work with disadvantaged and marginalized students when we return?
Gosh, it's hard for me to separate that out in terms of when we return versus when we're working with disadvantaged students now. We provide a lot of support to our students, both on the social and emotional side of things and the academic side as well. When we analyze what things have gone well during this pandemic, one thing that we've been working really hard on is reaching out to students who are struggling and trying to get them to re-engage in their learning through home visits, through in-person technology hubs on the campuses. So we will continue to provide the intense support that we currently give to our students now, and that we gave to our students prior to this pandemic. I'm really excited about summer programs, and we're really trying to think outside of the box related to summer programs. We'd like to rename summer school to maybe summer camp, and make it very exciting for students that they want to come to school in the summer. We know that our transitional kindergartners and kindergartners, they haven't really been on their campuses yet. So there's a lot of learning that needs to happen, not just the academic side, but just the coming on campus and how to be a student. But we will continue to offer a variety of programs for our students, and really meet them where they are in their learning, and try and really accelerate their learning over the next few months.
Okay, Assistant Superintendent Summer, how do we find out if my child's teacher will be online or in person? How do they find out, during this switch, who their teacher is going to be?
So they need to continue to communicate with their school sites. Their school site will reach out to them, letting them know if there is going to be a change with their teacher or not. So the first thing that's really important is that when they get a phone call or a survey asking to confirm what their choice is, it's really important that they fill that out. And if they have questions, they can call and ask the school site.
Okay, great. And a follow-up, will we be requiring kids to be tested for COVID-19, considering the traumatic and unpleasant way that the testing is done?
Doug, it's not a requirement. We'd like to encourage people to get tested. It's really a key component to our safety plan, and we are working with staffs and getting input from parents on how to best do that, especially with our youngest kids. So we really hope people participate in the testing program because it will help us keep our campuses safe.
Okay, we're nearing the end of the questions there, unless no more come in. I'm not seeing any more, none in the email.
Well, thank you so much for asking those. And I'm wondering if anybody has any closing comments that they would like to make, any of our principals or Director Sherman or Assistant Superintendent Summer.
I'd love to. I just want to say that to everyone that we're super excited. We're really looking forward to having kids back on campus. And I just want to sort of echo what's been said here is that all of us in the district have been working very diligently together to create plans and schedules that ensure the safest possible campuses for our kids and the most effective instructional programs for our kids, whether that be continued distance learning or hybrid learning. And so I just want you to rest assured that and just echo what everyone has already been saying. And we're just really looking forward to having kids back.
Thank you, Principal Brown. And Principal Rawls.
So first of all, I just would like to thank the parents for working with us so far during this last 9 months. It's been really tough, and you guys, the parents, have done a great job, and we are ready to have kids back on campus. We are ready to rock the 3 R's again on campus. So looking forward to it.
Thank you. Katie or Gabe, anything?
I too want to thank the parents who've been working so hard and our teachers and staff that have been making distance learning such a great program now. We are so excited, and we've been working really hard to get ready to bring students back. And we have, like Principal Brown stated, we've put in lots of safety mitigation efforts that have all been recommended by the California Department of Public Health. So we're just really excited to have our students back in a safe environment.
Yeah, and I think I just echo that. Our staff have been working nonstop since this pandemic began, and I have 2 young elementary students myself, and it's been a hard haul, but I think we have light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm looking forward to having the kids back on campus. So.
And parents and staff out there, if you have any further questions, you can email to that to townhallquestions@uusd.net, or you can always email me at dkubin@uusd.net. We are so grateful for everything that our community has done to pull together on behalf of kids and families, including our city of Ukiah, all of our staff, our parents, grandparents out there, and a special thanks to County Public Health as well for all the work that they're doing. I'm super excited to report that the majority of our staff have received their first vaccine, which will allow us to get back to the classroom in person. And I'm grateful for all the efforts that our county is going to make all of that happen as well. So thank you so much. And again, I so look forward to the day when we can all be seeing you in person and your beautiful children.